I stood in the hallway outside the hotel ballroom, my hands shaking as I pressed the record button on my phone. Through the crack in the door, I could see my younger sister Emma laughing with her bridesmaids, completely unaware that in less than 2 hours, I was going to destroy her wedding day. But I had no choice, because 18 hours ago, I'd heard her fiancé Blake casually discuss how he planned to kill her. Let me back up. My name is Marcus Thompson. I'm 62 years old, a retired detective from the Philadelphia Police Department. I raised my sister Emma after our parents died in a car accident when she was 8 and I was 24. She was my whole world. I never married, never had kids of my own. Emma was enough. I put her through college, walked her through her first heartbreak, celebrated when she got into medical school. Everything I did was for her. So when she called me 6 months ago, voice trembling with excitement, telling me she'd met someone, I was happy for her. She deserved happiness. She'd worked so hard, sacrificing her 20s to become a doctor. At 29, she was finally a resident at Temple University Hospital, finally ready to build a life beyond the hospital walls. Blake Harrison seemed perfect on paper. 28 years old, investment banker, Georgetown graduate. He was handsome in that clean-cut way that mothers approve of, always wore expensive suits, always said the right things. When I met him at their engagement dinner, he shook my hand firmly, looked me in the eye, called me sir. He talked about wanting to take care of Emma, about how proud he was of her career, about the life they'd build together. I wanted to trust him. God knows I wanted to, but 30 years as a cop had given me instincts I couldn't ignore. Something about Blake felt rehearsed, too smooth. The way he touched Emma felt possessive rather than loving. The way he talked about their future always seemed to center on what he would gain. But Emma was glowing. She was happy. And maybe, I thought, I was just being an overprotective older brother. Maybe I was seeing threats where there were none. So I kept my mouth shut and helped plan the wedding. The rehearsal dinner was last night at the Bellevue Hotel in downtown Philadelphia. Emma had chosen the hotel for both the rehearsal and the wedding because our mother had gotten married there. It meant something to her, having that connection. I arrived early, around 5:30, while the staff was still setting up. Emma and Blake weren't due until 6:30. I needed some air, so I stepped out onto the terrace on the 3rd floor. It was a warm September evening, the kind that makes you grateful to be alive. The sun was setting over the city, painting everything gold. I leaned against the railing, thinking about my parents, wishing they could be here to see Emma get married. That's when I heard voices from the smoking area around the corner. Male voices, laughing. I recognized Blake's voice immediately. Bro, tomorrow's the big day, someone said. One of Blake's groomsmen, I assumed. Yeah, man. Finally. Blake's voice had an edge to it I'd never heard before. Something cold. You sure about this? I mean, Emma seems cool. Blake laughed. It wasn't a nice laugh. Emma's an idiot. A useful idiot, but still an idiot. My blood went cold. I pressed myself against the wall, staying out of sight. What do you mean? The other voice asked. Come on, Tyler, you know what I mean. You've been in on this from the beginning. There was a pause. The sound of a lighter clicking, the smell of cigarette smoke. The life insurance thing, Tyler said quietly. The $500,000 life insurance thing, Blake corrected. From the hospital. All medical residents get it. Emma doesn't even realize what it's worth. She just signed the paperwork when they hired her. Never thought about it. My heart was pounding so hard I thought they might hear it. And you're really going to? I mean, you're really going through with it? Not right away, Blake said casually, like he was discussing dinner plans. I'll give it a few months. Make it look good. We'll take a trip somewhere. Maybe a hiking trip. Accidents happen in the mountains, right? People fall, slip on wet rocks. Very tragic. Jesus. Blake, don't get cold feet on me now. You're my alibi, remember? We've been planning this for months. I know. It's just, she seems really in love with you. Blake laughed again. That's what makes it work, Tyler. She trusts me completely. She'd follow me anywhere. Hell, she'll probably walk right to the edge of the cliff if I ask her to take a photo. I felt bile rising in my throat. I wanted to round that corner and throw Blake off that terrace. My hands were clenched into fists, my vision going red. 30 years of dealing with criminals, and I'd never felt rage like this. What about her brother? Tyler asked. Marcus? That guy's a cop. Retired cop, Blake corrected. And he's old. Soft. He's so desperate for Emma to be happy that he'd believe anything. I've been playing him since day one. Yes, sir. No, sir. I love your sister so much, sir. Guy's a joke. That's when I understood. Blake wasn't just a con man or a gold digger. He was a predator, a killer, and my sister was his prey. I had to grip the railing to stop myself from shaking. Every instinct I had as a cop, as a brother, as a man, was screaming at me to go around that corner and beat Blake unconscious, to drag him to the police station, to tell Emma everything right now, stop this wedding before it started. But I couldn't, not yet, because I knew how this worked. I'd been a detective for 3 decades. I knew that what I just heard wouldn't hold up in court. It was hearsay, overheard without proper recording. If I confronted Blake now, he'd deny everything. He'd say I misheard, that I was an overprotective brother making up stories because I couldn't let Emma go. And Emma, God help her, might believe him. She was in love. Love makes people blind. I needed evidence. Real, solid, undeniable evidence. I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and opened the voice recorder app. Then I crept closer to the corner, staying hidden, and held the phone up. So what's the timeline? Tyler was asking. Like I said, a few months, Blake replied. We'll do the honeymoon in Bali, nice and romantic. Then I'll suggest a hiking trip in November, maybe Colorado or somewhere in the Rockies. Somewhere remote. Lots of dangerous trails. I've already been researching. There's this spot in Rocky Mountain National Park. Long's Peak. 14,000-foot elevation. Lots of places to fall. Very tragic accidents happen there every year. And you're sure the life insurance will pay out? It's an accidental death policy. Falls are covered. I've read the fine print 3 times. $500,000 paid to the spouse. That's me. What if they investigate? They will investigate, Blake said calmly. That's why I need to be smart about it. That's why I'll be the grieving husband. I'll cry at the funeral. I'll talk about how much I loved her. I'll set up a scholarship in her name or some shit. Play it right for 6 months, then slowly start living better. New car, new apartment. People will think it's because I'm moving on, starting fresh. By the time I'm spending the money, nobody will question it. You've really thought this through. I've been thinking about it since I met her. From the first date, when she mentioned she worked at Temple Hospital, I did my research, found out about the life insurance policy, realized she was perfect. Smart enough to have a real career, dumb enough to trust me completely. No family except that cop brother, and he's easy to handle. It was perfect. I'd heard enough. I stopped the recording and backed away, my legs barely holding me up. I made it to a bench near the elevators and sat down, my whole body shaking. Blake had targeted my sister. He'd planned her murder before they'd even gotten serious. Every moment of their relationship had been a lie, a setup for murder. The elevator doors opened. Emma stepped out, beautiful in a blue sundress, her hair pulled back, smiling. When she saw me, her face lit up. Marcus, you're here early. Is everything okay? You look pale. I forced myself to stand, to smile. I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a little tired. She hugged me tight. Thank you for being here. Thank you for everything. I know you've had reservations about Blake, but I really think you'll see tomorrow how perfect he is. He loves me, Marcus. He really loves me. I held her close, fighting back tears. I know, Em. I know. How do you tell your little sister that her fiancé is planning to murder her? How do you destroy her happiness, her dreams, her wedding, everything she's been looking forward to? How do you say those words without sounding insane? You don't. Not yet. Not without proof she can't deny. That night, after the rehearsal dinner where I had to watch Blake play the perfect fiancé, laughing and toasting and kissing Emma's hand, I went back to my apartment and didn't sleep. I sat at my kitchen table, my old service weapon in front of me, thinking, I could kill Blake. It would be easy. I knew how to make it look like an accident. 30 years as a cop, I knew all the tricks. Nobody would question it. Problem solved. But that would make me a murderer. And it would devastate Emma. She'd spend the rest of her life mourning a man who'd planned to kill her, never knowing the truth. That wasn't justice. That was just revenge. I needed to do this right. I needed Blake to expose himself in a way that Emma couldn't deny, in a way that would protect her, legally and emotionally. And I had an idea, a terrible, risky idea, but it was the only way. I spent that night making phone calls. I still had connections in the department, cops I'd worked with for decades. I called in every favor I was owed. By 3 in the morning, I had what I needed. The wedding was at 2 o'clock the next afternoon. The ceremony would be in the hotel's grand ballroom, the reception in the connected room. 200 guests. Emma had been planning this for months. I arrived at the hotel at 10 in the morning. Emma was already there with her bridesmaids, getting ready in the bridal suite on the 4th floor. Blake was in the groom's suite on the 3rd floor with his groomsmen. I went up to the 3rd floor and found Detective Sarah Chen waiting by the elevators. She'd been my partner for 5 years before I retired. Mid-40s, sharp as a knife, and willing to bend the rules when it mattered. "Marcus," she said quietly, "you're sure about this?" "I'm sure. Did you bring what I asked?" She handed me a small black device, a wireless microphone, police grade, with a receiver. "It's active. I'll be monitoring from the surveillance van outside. We'll record everything." "Thank you, Sarah. If this goes wrong," "It won't," I said. "Trust me." I knocked on Blake's door. He opened it, already in his tuxedo pants and white shirt, not yet wearing the jacket. His groomsmen were behind him, drinking beer and laughing. "Marcus," Blake smiled that perfect smile. "Come in. Want a beer? We're just killing time before the big moment." "Actually, Blake, can I talk to you for a minute?" "Alone?" His smile faltered slightly. "Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine. Just some last-minute stuff I need to go over with you." "Wedding logistics." Sure. He stepped into the hallway, closing the door behind him. "What's up?" I led him down the hallway, away from the room, toward a small alcove near the fire stairs. It was private, out of sight of the elevators. "I wanted to apologize," I said. Blake looked confused. "Apologize? For what?" "For being hard on you. For being overprotective. I know I've been difficult sometimes." His face relaxed. "Hey man, I get it. Emma's your little sister. You've taken care of her your whole life. It's natural to be protective." "It's more than that," I said. I reached into my pocket and pulled out the small microphone, palming it. "I lost my parents young. Emma's all I have. The thought of her getting hurt, of someone taking advantage of her." I shook my head. "It makes me crazy." "I understand," Blake said. He put his hand on my shoulder. "But I promise you, Marcus, I love Emma. I'm going to take care of her. She's everything to me." The lies came so easily to him. Looking at his face, I saw no guilt, no hesitation, just smooth, practiced deception. "That means a lot," I said. I pretended to wipe my eyes. "Sorry, I'm getting emotional." "Old man stuff." Blake laughed. "It's a wedding. Everyone's emotional." "Can I hug you?" I asked. "Welcome you to the family properly?" "Of course, man." We hugged. And in that moment, while his arms were around me and he couldn't see my hands, I slipped the wireless microphone into the inside pocket of his tuxedo jacket, which was hanging over his arm. We pulled apart. Blake smiled at me. "Thank you, Marcus. That means a lot. Thank you for loving my sister," I said. The words tasted like poison. He went back to his room. I went straight to the fire stairs and called Sarah. "It's placed," I said. "You're receiving?" "Loud and clear," she confirmed. "Good work." Now we wait. I spent the next hour pacing the 3rd floor hallway, my phone connected to Sarah's receiver. I could hear everything Blake said. For a while, it was just normal groomsmen talk, jokes and stories and drinking. Nothing useful. Then, around noon, Tyler pulled Blake aside. "Hey man, can we talk?" "In private?" I heard a door close. "A bathroom, maybe." "What's wrong?" Blake asked. "You look freaked out." "I am freaked out." "Blake, I can't do this. I can't help you kill someone. This is insane." There was a long pause. My heart was pounding. "Tyler, calm down." "No, I can't calm down. We're talking about murder. Emma's a good person. She doesn't deserve this." "Keep your voice down," Blake hissed, "and get it together. We've been planning this for months. You're in too deep to back out now." "I don't care. I can't be part of killing someone. It's wrong." "Listen to me very carefully," Blake said, his voice going cold. "You're already part of this. You've known about it for months. You've helped me plan it. If you try to back out now, If you try to tell anyone, you're going down too. Conspiracy to commit murder. You'll go to prison. Then maybe I should. Maybe I deserve to. Don't be stupid. Think about your career, your family. You want to throw all that away? I want to sleep at night. You'll sleep fine once we have the money, Blake snapped. Remember the deal. You help me with this, you get 50,000. That's 50 grand for doing basically nothing. All you have to do is back up my story when the time comes. Say we were together when she fell. Say it was an accident. That's it. I can't. Yes, you can. And you will. Because if you don't, I'll make sure everyone knows you were in on it from the beginning. I'll show them the texts, the emails, everything. I'll tell them it was your idea. Who do you think they'll believe? Me, the grieving husband? Or you, my sketchy friend with a gambling problem? That's not fair. Life's not fair, Tyler. Now pull yourself together. We have a wedding to get through, and in a few months, we'll have $500,000 to split. Stay focused on that. There was silence. Then Tyler's voice, barely a whisper. Okay, I'm in. Good. Now wash your face and let's go get married. I heard the door open. Footsteps. Blake calling out to the other groomsmen about doing shots. I stood in the hallway, tears streaming down my face. I had it. I had everything. I called Sarah. Did you get that? Every word. That's conspiracy to commit murder, Marcus. We have him. Not yet. I need one more thing. I need Emma to hear it. Marcus. She has to hear it, Sarah. She has to know. If we arrest him now, she'll never believe it. She'll think I set him up. She'll hate me forever. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. What do you want to do? I need you to trust me. Can you get everyone in position? Already done. We have 4 plainclothes officers in the ballroom as wedding guests. We have the van outside. We're ready to move. When you give the signal, good. Let the ceremony happen, but be ready to move fast after. Marcus, are you sure about this? I thought about Emma in her wedding dress upstairs, happy and excited and completely unaware that she was marrying a man who planned to kill her. I thought about our parents, about the promise I made at their funeral to always protect her. I've never been more sure of anything in my life. The ceremony started at 2 o'clock. I walked Emma down the aisle, my arm linked with hers, and it was the hardest thing I've ever done. She was radiant in her white dress, her face glowing with joy. She squeezed my arm and whispered, "Thank you for being the best brother anyone could ask for." I kissed her cheek and handed her over to Blake, who stood at the altar in his tuxedo, smiling that perfect smile. The microphone was still in his jacket pocket, still recording. Sarah was outside, listening to everything. The ceremony began. The officiant talked about love and commitment and partnership. Blake and Emma exchanged vows they'd written themselves. Blake talked about how Emma had changed his life, how lucky he was to have found her, how he would protect her and cherish her for the rest of their lives. Every word was a lie. Every word was part of the performance he'd been giving for months. When the officiant said, "You may kiss the bride," I had to look away. The ceremony ended. Everyone applauded. Blake and Emma walked back down the aisle together, hand in hand, husband and wife. The guests moved to the reception room for cocktail hour. Emma and Blake were scheduled to take photos for the next hour. This was my window. I found Emma in the hallway outside the ballroom, posing with Blake for the photographer. "Em, can I steal you for a minute? I need to talk to you about something." She laughed. "Marcus, I'm kind of in the middle of something. It's important. Please, just 5 minutes." Something in my voice must have scared her because her smile faded. "Okay, Blake, I'll be right back." Blake looked at me, and for just a second, I saw something flicker across his face. Suspicion. But then he smiled. "Take your time. I'll go grab a drink." I led Emma to an empty conference room off the main hallway. As soon as we were inside, I closed the door and locked it. "Marcus, what's going on? You're scaring me." I pulled out my phone. "I need you to listen to something. And I need you to trust me." "Listen to what?" "Just, please, Em, trust me." I played her the recording from last night. Blake's voice filled the room, talking about life insurance and accidents and murder. Emma's face went white. She grabbed the back of a chair to steady herself. I played her the second recording from this morning. Blake and Tyler discussing the plan, the timeline, the money. When it finished, Emma was shaking. No, no, that can't be. Marcus, is this some kind of joke? I wish it was. Where did you get this? I overheard them last night, and I recorded them this morning. Emma, Blake's been planning to kill you since before you got engaged. The entire relationship was a setup. She was crying now, mascara running down her face. No, no, he loves me. He wouldn't. Listen to the tape again if you don't believe me. This is insane. Marcus, what did you do? Did you set him up? Did you fake this? I didn't fake anything. You heard his voice. You know it's real. She was sobbing, gasping for air. I went to her and held her, and she collapsed against me. Why? She whispered. Why would he do this? For the life insurance money. $500,000. But I don't. I barely have any money. Your hospital policy, you signed up for it when you started your residency. You probably don't even remember. Blake found out about it. He researched you, targeted you specifically. Everything was calculated. Emma pulled away from me, her hands over her mouth. She looked like she might be sick. What do I do? She asked. Marcus, what do I do? We call the police. We have him arrested. He goes to prison for conspiracy to commit murder. But we're married. We just got married. Oh God, everyone's out there, everyone saw. The marriage can be annulled. We'll take care of everything. But first, we need to make sure he can't hurt you. Do you understand? Blake is dangerous. She nodded, still crying. Okay. Okay, call the police. I already did. They're here, outside. But Em, I need you to be strong for just a little longer. What do you mean? I need Blake to incriminate himself one more time, in front of witnesses. Can you do that? She looked at me, her eyes red and puffy. Then something changed in her face. The shock was giving way to anger. Good. Anger would help her. What do you want me to do? I told her the plan. 10 minutes later, Emma and I walked back to the reception. She'd fixed her makeup as best she could, though her eyes were still red. The guests were mingling, drinking champagne, waiting for the bride and groom to make their entrance. Blake was near the bar with his groomsmen. When he saw Emma, he hurried over. Baby, are you okay? You look upset. Emma forced a smile. I'm fine. Just emotional. You know how weddings are. Come here. He pulled her into a hug. Over her shoulder, he looked at me questioningly. I gave him a reassuring nod. Just an emotional bride. Blake relaxed. Hey, Emma said, pulling back from the hug. Before we go in there, can we talk for a second? Somewhere private? Of course. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. I got a call from the hospital about my life insurance. I saw Blake's body go rigid. Your life insurance? Yeah. Apparently there's a problem with the policy. Something about the beneficiary designation. Since we just got married, I need to update it. They said it's still in my name only, and if anything happened to me, it would go to Marcus by default since he's my next of kin. Blake's expression was very carefully neutral. Oh, okay. We can take care of that next week. Actually, they said, I need to fix it immediately or the policy might lapse. Something about wedding dates and effective dates. It's complicated. Emma was doing an amazing job, her voice steady despite everything. Can we go somewhere and make the call? It'll just take a minute. Blake hesitated. I could see his mind working, calculating. Can it wait? We have 200 people waiting for us. It'll be quick. Please? I don't want to risk losing the coverage. You know how important it is to me, having that security. Of course, Blake said. His smile was back, but it didn't reach his eyes. Whatever you need. Let's go take care of it. Emma led him out of the reception room and down the hallway toward the same conference room where I'd played her the tapes. I followed at a distance. Sarah Chen and 3 other plainclothes officers followed even farther back. Emma and Blake went into the conference room. I waited exactly 30 seconds, then opened the door and followed them inside. Blake spun around. Marcus, we're kind of in the middle of something. I know, I said. Emma told me about the insurance issue. I thought I should be here too, since I'm currently listed as beneficiary. Blake's jaw tightened, but he nodded. Sure. Fine. Emma pulled out her phone. Okay, I'm calling them now. They said they just need both of us to confirm the change. She put the phone on speaker and pretended to dial. Of course, she wasn't really calling the insurance company. She was calling Sarah Chen, who answered on the first ring. Temple University Hospital Insurance Services. How can I help you? Emma was a much better actress than I'd given her credit for. Hi, this is Emma Thompson. Emma Harrison. I just got married and I need to update my life insurance beneficiary. Congratulations on your marriage. I can certainly help you with that. I'll need some information from you and your new spouse. For the next 5 minutes, the insurance representative asked questions. Blake's social security number, his employment information, his date of birth, details about the policy, the $500,000 death benefit. Blake answered everything, his voice tense but cooperative. He probably suspected something was wrong, but he couldn't figure out what, and he couldn't afford to raise suspicions by refusing to participate. Then Sarah, still pretending to be the insurance rep, said, "Now, Mr. Harrison, I need to confirm something with you. You understand that as the beneficiary, you would receive the full death benefit in the event of your spouse's death, correct?" "Yes," Blake said. "And you understand that this includes accidental death?" "Yes." "Including deaths that occur during high-risk activities like mountain climbing?" Blake went very still. "What?" "I'm just reading from the policy language here. It says accidental death benefits are paid out even during high-risk recreational activities. Is that your understanding?" "Yes, I guess so." Emma was watching him, her face carefully blank. "And Mr. Harrison," Sarah continued, "have you ever discussed with anyone the possibility of your spouse dying in an accident?" "What kind of question is that?" "It's a standard fraud prevention question, sir. Have you at any time discussed collecting the insurance benefit through your spouse's accidental death?" Blake's face was red now. "No, of course not. This is ridiculous." "What about with Tyler Morrison? Have you discussed it with him?" Blake's eyes widened. He looked at the phone, then at Emma, then at me. "What the hell is going on?" I pulled my phone out and held it up, showing him it was recording. "We know everything, Blake. We have recordings of you planning Emma's murder. We have you on tape discussing the life insurance fraud. We have your friend Tyler's testimony. It's over." Blake's face went through a series of expressions: shock, fear, rage, then calculation. He was looking at the door, measuring the distance. "Don't," I said quietly. "There are 4 police officers in the hallway." Emma stood up, her hands shaking but her voice steady. "You were going to kill me. You were going to take me hiking and push me off a cliff." "Emma, baby, I don't know what he told you, but I heard the recordings, your voice, planning my death like it was a business transaction. Those can be faked. You know how easy it is to fake recordings now, with AI and—" "I was there," I said. "Last night at the rehearsal dinner. You were on the terrace smoking with Tyler. You talked about Long's Peak and Rocky Mountain National Park. You talked about the $500,000 policy. You called my sister an idiot. You said she'd walk right to the edge if you told her to." Blake's face crumpled. He knew he was caught. "I loved you," Emma said, her voice breaking. "I trusted you completely. And you were just waiting for the right time to murder me." "Emma, please, don't say my name. Don't ever say my name again." The door opened. Sarah Chen came in, her badge out, 3 uniformed officers behind her. "Blake Harrison," she said, "you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder and insurance fraud." Blake tried to run. It was pathetic, really. He got maybe 3 steps before the officers tackled him to the ground. He fought them, screaming, until they got the handcuffs on. As they dragged him out, he kept yelling, "Emma, Emma, please, they're lying. Your brother set me up, Emma." Emma just watched him go, tears streaming down her face. When he was gone, when it was just the 2 of us in that conference room, she collapsed into a chair and sobbed. I knelt next to her and held her hand. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I'm so sorry." "You saved my life," she said. "Marcus, you saved my life. I would do anything to protect you. You know that." "My wedding," she sobbed. "My wedding is ruined. Everyone's out there waiting and my husband just got arrested for planning to kill me." "I know, sweetheart. I know." She cried for a long time. Finally, she wiped her eyes and stood up. "Okay," she said. "Okay. I need to go tell everyone. I need to explain." "You don't have to do that. I can." "No." Her voice was firm now. "I need to do it. They're my guests. They came here for me. They deserved to know the truth. So Emma did the bravest thing I've ever seen anyone do. She walked into that reception hall, still in her wedding dress, and stood on the stage where the band was supposed to play. She asked for everyone's attention, and then she told them everything. She told them about the recordings, about Blake's plan, about the life insurance fraud, about how he'd targeted her from the very beginning. She told them that her husband had just been arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. The room was completely silent. Some people were crying, some looked angry, some just looked shocked. When Emma finished, she said, "I'm sorry you came all this way for a wedding that isn't going to happen, but I'm grateful you're here, because you being here reminds me that I'm surrounded by people who actually love me, who would never hurt me, and that's worth celebrating." Someone in the crowd started clapping, then someone else. Then everyone was applauding, some people standing, some coming forward to hug Emma. The reception turned into something else. Not a wedding celebration, but a survival celebration. Emma's friends surrounded her, protected her. The food was served. The bar stayed open. People toasted Emma's strength, her courage, her narrow escape. I stood in the back of the room, watching my sister laugh and cry and hug her friends, and I thought about how close we'd come to losing her. How if I hadn't been in the right place at the right time, if I hadn't overheard that conversation, Blake's plan might have worked. Around 10 o'clock that night, after most of the guests had left, Emma found me sitting alone at a table. "Hey," she said softly. She was still in her wedding dress, though she'd taken her veil off hours ago. "Hey yourself. How are you holding up?" She sat down next to me. "I don't know. I feel numb, like this whole day was some kind of nightmare. I'm sorry I couldn't stop it sooner. I'm sorry you had to go through the ceremony. Don't apologize. You did everything right. If you'd told me sooner, I might not have believed you." Hearing those recordings, hearing him talk about me like that, I needed to hear it myself. "He's going to prison for a long time," I said. "The DA says, with the recordings and Tyler's testimony, it's an open and shut case." "Good." She was quiet for a moment. "Marcus, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "When did you know? When did you first suspect something was wrong with Blake?" I thought about it. The first time I met him, something felt off, but I didn't trust it. I thought I was just being overprotective. "You were right. Your instincts were right. And more them, not all the time. Sometimes I'm wrong." She leaned her head on my shoulder. "You've never been wrong about me. You've protected me my whole life. When Mom and Dad died, you raised me. You put your life on hold for me. You never got married, never had your own kids. I didn't want kids. I had you. I'm not a kid anymore. You'll always be my kid sister. That's how it works." She laughed, a real laugh, and it was the best sound I'd heard all day. "What happens now?" she asked. "Now? Now you heal. You take time off from the hospital. You go to therapy. You let yourself grieve, because even though Blake was a monster, you loved him, or you loved who you thought he was. That loss is real. And then you live your life. You finish your residency. You become an amazing doctor. You find someone who actually deserves you. Someone who loves you for real, not for what they can take from you." "How will I know?" she asked quietly. "How will I know if I can trust someone again?" "You'll know, and I'll be there, watching. Because that's what big brothers do." She squeezed my hand. "Thank you for everything." We sat there in that empty ballroom, surrounded by the ruins of a wedding that never should have happened, and I felt grateful. Grateful that I'd been in the right place at the right time. Grateful that I'd trusted my instincts. Grateful that my sister was safe. 3 weeks later, I got a call from Detective Chen. "Marcus, thought you'd want to know. Blake took a plea deal." "What kind of deal?" 15 years, no parole. The DA wanted to go to trial, but Blake's lawyer convinced him he'd lose. With the recordings and Tyler's testimony, there was no defense. "What about Tyler?" "He's cooperating. He'll probably get probation, maybe a year or 2. The DA's going easy on him because he tried to back out." "Good. He's a coward. But at least he has a conscience." "There's more," Sarah said. We looked into Blake's background. Turns out Emma wasn't the first. My blood went cold. "What do you mean?" 4 years ago, Blake was engaged to a woman named Jennifer Watts in Maryland. She died in a hiking accident 3 months after their wedding. Fell off a cliff in Shenandoah National Park. Blake collected $200,000 in life insurance. Jesus Christ. It was ruled an accident. No investigation. Blake played the grieving husband, got the payout, moved to Pennsylvania, and started over. He was looking for his next victim when he found Emma. So he's done this before. We think so. Maryland police are reopening the case. If they can prove Jennifer's death wasn't an accident, Blake could be looking at murder charges on top of the conspiracy charges. He's a serial killer. He would have been if you hadn't stopped him. After I hung up, I sat in my apartment for a long time, thinking about Jennifer Watts, thinking about how Blake had gotten away with it once, thinking about how Emma had come so close to being his second victim. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't arrived early that night, if I hadn't gone out on that terrace for air, if I hadn't overheard Blake's conversation with Tyler. Would Emma be alive right now? Or would she be dead on some mountain trail, another tragic accident, another payout for a man who saw women as nothing more than profit margins? I'll never know, and I'm grateful I'll never have to find out. Emma took 6 months off from her residency. She went to therapy 3 times a week. She moved out of the apartment she'd shared with Blake and into a new place across town. She started over. A year later, she called me on a Saturday morning. "Hey, big brother, what are you doing today?" "Nothing much." "Why?" "I want you to meet someone." My heart sank. "Emma, are you sure you're ready?" His name is David. He's a pediatrician at the hospital. We've been friends for a few months, and recently it's become something more. "I want you to meet him." "Okay," I said slowly. "When?" "How about lunch today? There's this diner near my apartment." I met them at the diner at noon. David was 32, soft-spoken, with kind eyes and an easy smile. He shook my hand, looked me in the eye, but didn't try too hard, didn't put on a performance. We talked for 2 hours, about medicine, about family, about life. David told me about his parents, who'd been married for 40 years. He talked about his work with sick kids, and I could tell it wasn't just a job to him. He cared. When Emma went to the bathroom, David looked at me seriously. "I know what happened with Blake," he said quietly. "Emma told me everything. I want you to know that I would never, ever hurt her. I love her, not for what she has or what she can give me. I love her because she's brilliant and kind and strong as hell." "She is strong," I agreed. "I know you're protective of her. I respect that. And I want you to know that you can vet me however you want. Run background checks, ask questions, whatever you need to do to feel comfortable. Because I'm not going anywhere." I studied his face. My cop instincts, the ones that had saved Emma's life, were quiet. No alarm bells, no red flags. Just a good man who loved my sister. "Okay," I said. "I appreciate that." When Emma came back, she looked at both of us. "Everything okay?" "Everything's fine," David said, smiling at her. She smiled back, and I saw something in her face I hadn't seen since before Blake. Real happiness, real trust. She was healing. As I drove home that afternoon, I thought about something Emma had said to me on her wedding day after Blake had been arrested. She'd asked me how she would ever trust anyone again. I didn't have a good answer then. But watching her with David, I realized the answer was simple. You trust again because you have to. Because the alternative is living in fear forever. Because the world has monsters like Blake in it, but it also has good people. People like David. People who love you for who you are, not for what they can take from you. And you trust again because you have people who love you watching your back. People who will step in when something's wrong. People who will fight for you, protect you, save you if they have to. Emma had me. And as long as I was alive, I would always be watching. Always be protecting. Always be ready to step in if someone tried to hurt her again. That's what big brothers do. That's what family does. And sometimes, if you're lucky, if you pay attention to your instincts and act when it matters, you can save someone's life. I saved my sister's life that day. But in a way, she saved mine too. Because she reminded me why I became a cop in the first place. Not for the badge or the authority or the power. For moments like that terrace, when I overheard something I wasn't supposed to hear and had the chance to stop a monster before he could strike. For the chance to protect people who can't protect themselves. For the chance to be the person standing between evil and the people I love. I'm 62 years old now. I've been retired for 3 years, but I'll never stop being a cop. I'll never stop watching. I'll never stop protecting my sister. Because that's what you do when you love someone. You pay attention. You trust your instincts. You act when it matters. And you never, ever let the monsters win.